Hey guys, First Regardsman here, and today I'll be talking about every single weapon in Space Marine 2 patch 9.0 once again and tier listing them, but this time I have brought along a true solo legend, Zambitt himself, to help me tier list all of these and get his opinion on some of these I may have not used as much as him. So what is up, Zambitt? Are you ready to tier list all of these weapons today?
I'm ready.
Perfect. So here we are, starting off with the Melter Rifle here. So I think the Melter Rifle is a pretty good gun, probably overrated in this game, possibly the most overrated because at launch this weapon was pretty busted, easy S tier, but since then it's fallen off a little bit. It's very stagger dependent, has like a 5 business day reload speed, and I would say it is mostly good for like armor restore, trick shot, and stuff like that in the stagger, which is pretty decent, but not like top tier. So I would personally put this in like B tier. I put it in A last time, but I was kind of being nice to it. I think it is probably more firmly in B. I'm curious where you would place this.
Yeah, I definitely put it in B. It has a lot of ammo issues as well, especially if you don't take the ammo variant, and that's really the only variant that's good with it.
It did actually buff the range variant. I don't know if you tried that out yet. The range variant is quite strong now. It has a very good damage fall off.
Okay, I'll have to try that.
I would put it in.
Yeah,
I'd still put it in B though. We both agree it goes B regardless. So next one here is the Bolt Carbine. Now, I'm a big fan of the Bolt Carbine. Automatic weapons are pretty fun. This one also has a marksman variant that we'll get into later because that one's further down the line. I'll probably put it up here to be honest. But Bolt Carbine, they did buff this a while back to have an increased headshot multiplier at close range. And ever since then, it's kind of been on crack. You know, you just take the home precision perk, you hip fire this thing like a laser beam, and you get all of your CHP back and deal stupid amounts of damage on tactical. Now, previously, before like the secure stockpile awakening and ascension to tactical, you would just take like a line to aim with this thing and balance distribution and just do stupid amounts of headshot damage, like no other option. But now it does a little less on like the absolute premier tactical build because only because aligned aim has been power crept, to be honest. But like either way, I think this is like the best option on pretty much every class it is on, except for sniper as far as like bolt weapons go, and bolt carbine is just kind of that gun, at least for like automatic bolt weapons. I think this is the best one. So I would say this goes into A. I think that's a pretty good spot for this. I know we've talked about this before, Zamba, but do you have any other thoughts on this?
I definitely think I agree. It's fallen out a bit. I would say it used to be an S tier weapon, but yeah, I think it's A tier now. I love this thing, so.
That's really, I think the best thing about this is the absurd amount of CHP regen. Now, they're talking about like changing the CHP system in the game to like favor melee weapons over ranged weapons, but the Bolt Carbine, I feel like this is one of those guns, just because of the amount of shots it puts out, you really have to have the CHP regen be pathetic per shot for it to ever be bad. So I think this needs to be pretty good, regardless of like nerf or not, CHP regen. So A tier for sure. Any other thoughts on like the ammo reserve versus like the accuracy variant? I don't think this gun's very good with accuracy at all. I think most of the issues of this gun come down to like some bad variants rather than like any actual problems with the gun itself.
Yeah, I never really liked the accuracy variant. I always felt like it was just leagues worse than the ammo variant.
Yeah,
Especially because you can just go around hip firing it.
And speaking of Bolt Carbine variants, Marksman Carbine. Marksman Carbine to get buffed with the accuracy variant to a ×2 headshot one. I think that one has just like totally power crept the ammo reserve variant of it. I actually like this gun a lot. I've tried it on both tactical and sniper and vanguard. I think it's by far the best on tactical right now because it has stupid amounts of damage perks for range damage, to be honest. And Marksman Carbine is also pretty good on the sniper because sniper has the ammo economy problems as well, or excuse me, the ammo economy perks to make this thing fully functional, because it kind of lacks ammo a bit. But like any class that has significant headshot damage or range damage would be pretty top tier with this. So Marksman Carbine, I'd put this one in A. I'm curious what you think about it.
Yeah, I think it's an A right now. It got a really nice glow up in patch 9. And it just absolutely shreds like Tyranids, especially. Like
Yeah,
ranged Tyranids just die instantly.
I mean, it's fun to use. I mean, it is kind of a carpal tunnel simulator, but I'm curious if you have like a favorite class on this gun. Mine's tactical currently. Pretty much every ranged weapon.
It's definitely tactical, just going like all range damage.
He does have like stupid amounts of range damage perks. All right, so A tier. You say it's better than the standard Bolt Carbine now? I'm kind of like, it's hard to tell at times. I think the automatic CHP regen is just too good. They ever put marksman over it?
Yeah, I think the normal one just edges it out a bit, just because I think it's overall better on the other classes, but the marksman is still really good.
Now, the next weapon we have here is the auto bolt rifle. This weapon is fucking butt cheeks. I fucking hate this gun. I've had people try to tell me this gun is good. I've taken this into absolute versus Tyranids with like full range damage, and it does basically nothing on tactical. It is like a horrifically pathetic perk tree. The perk tree is sad. Like, that's the best way to describe the perk tree on the auto bolt rifle. It is a sad, pathetic perk tree. It is the neglected weapon of this game. They've barely touched it. They gave it like an extra magazine way back when, or like buffed the base damage, and none of that ever really like majorly affected its performance because it's still shit. The only thing this is actually good for is like killing Minoris enemies, and I would say it just goes into like D tier for just bad. Like, I would say D tier is bad, and this is awful. There's no reason to use this weapon over like the other automatic options. Even like the heavy bolt rifle, which is kind of mediocre right now, or I'd say like very like a little underperforming. Audible rifle is still way worse. So D. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Audible rifles just always felt terrible. For some reason, it didn't get buffed in patch 9. It has like probably the worst skill tree or like a perk tree in the entire game. And it has really bad variants.
Got like a Dark Tide like on launch perk tree.
That's exactly what it is, actually.
It's just a line. You go top or you go bottom, you pick like two in between. It is sad. Yeah, D tier for the auto bolt rifle. I don't think most people even disagree with that. This gun is like, maybe it's fun and minimal, but like an absolute, I'm just not touch this thing. And like, I can't believe they gave this thing the Dark Angel skin and the high honored auto bolt rifle skins. Like, it really does deserve love. It has like 2 skins in this game that are DLC and ordeal dependent. Now, next weapon here. Plasma Incinerator, not the heavy one. This is the tactical one. So I think this gun is top tier for sure. Not as good as the heavy plasma, but super good for CHP regen. Amazing stagger, great boss damage. Really has a amazing synergy with the plasma boost perk. I mean, obviously this thing is only on tactical, but you know, you take this and the rate of fire plasma pistol with plasma boost, and you just get stupid value out of plasma shots. So really strong for that, and can like one combo or like, you know, 3-shot most Majoris in the game. And I would say this is A. Where would you put this?
I'd probably put it top of A. Yeah,
It's
definitely very strong.
You think it's over Bolt Carbine?
I do think so.
Ways. Really, you think it's over Bolt Carbine? Actually, I could definitely see that. I think this thing actually lasts way longer in Hard Siege than Bolt Carbine does. That does make sense to me. You know, see the logic there.
It's just a lot less risky.
That is true. And the CHP regen is kind of stupid. There's so many enemies that you're pretty much never ever going to miss a charge shot in Siege mode anyways, for this thing would ever like start struggling. Next weapon here. Bolt rifle, non-grenade launcher. This is the standard bolt rifle. This is one that got the accuracy buff for a ×2 headshot multiplier. I think, you know, if we're talking about the firepower variant for this gun, it is ass. There's no reason to use the firepower variant because the accuracy variant actually has more damage, because body shots in Space Marine 2 are already like you're missing your shots anyways. So I think a bolt rifle, I think this is just the accuracy variant with the headshot increase is very, very strong. I think this thing might be as strong as a bolt carbine in its own way. I would say it's definitely as good as a marksman carbine. I'm curious what you think about the accuracy variant.
Yeah, I definitely think it's like at the minimum on par with the marksman. It's very strong right now. I've always really liked just the non-grenade launcher variant of the bolt carbine.
I really like both these guns. The recoupment perk, because you get that armor back when you're shooting the ranged dudes, and like sometimes it can really help you prevent ship damage on the tactical, especially when like a true solo. So yeah, I would say I would put it a little above marksman carbine. I think the automatic just makes it far more forgiving and doesn't give me carpal tunnel. So I'd probably put it here. It's also very, very pinpoint. I mean, both of these are, because like you really find out how accurate the weapons actually are in this game when you take away the stupid bloom. So bolt rifle definitely like right here. All right, next weapon would be a bolt rifle with grenade launcher. This gun slaps, Siege mode in particular. I like it's still good in operations, but you do kind of have to like build differently from the standard bolt rifle, because you aren't building for headshots anymore. You can't like take the tactical precision perk that you know, like lowers your overall range damage. It's not headshots because it does affect your grenades. But if you're building this for like spare power on the tactical in siege mode, it is dumb. So you have any thoughts on this weapon?
Explosions.
Yeah, that sounds like S tier to me. This thing definitely goes up here. I would say this is probably like the single best weapon outside like the S tier heavy picks. It is absurdly effective. It scales up so much. The only issue this thing has ever had is like ammunition, but the CHP regen is ridiculous. There was a point in time in like the fabled lands of like pre-patch like 5.0, was it, or was like 6.0, when this thing got full grenades back from Emperor's Vengeance and could absolutely, like, you could be the worst player on Earth and just get like an execute off and just get all your grenades back and just fire them off and never ever die every 30 seconds. It was ridiculously effective. They nerfed it. It was like the most justified nerf ever in this game, in my opinion. I don't think there's ever been a more justified nerf than like the Emperor's Vengeance grenade launcher interaction. I think they could buff up the amount of grenades you get back now because like one might be a little low. I don't think it's that OP. But it has great synergy in siege mode because of spare power, where, you know, like you just get back your Auspex and just blast away. So, any other thoughts on the grenade launcher?
Really, grenade launcher is just insanely strong, especially in siege mode. You can nuke bosses in like 10 seconds on your
like
own.
The highest DPS, isn't it? Like any weapon for boss damage.
Yeah, I don't think anything comes close other than maybe heavy plasma.
Also, that CHP regen is stupid. Yeah, we're grenade launcher fans. What can we say? Next weapon here, another fan favorite and a personal favorite, the Stalker Bolt Rifle. Now, this gun, this has pretty much been good since launch. They buffed it. They've buffed it multiple times, and they buffed it once again in patch 9.0 to have an increased rate of fire on the rate of fire variant and increased headshot multiplier on the headshot variant, or like the firepower variant. So very strong options, both of them. I'm kind of shocked they actually buffed this gun because this gun was already like super top tier performing. What do you think about the Stalker Bolt Rifle?
I mean, yeah, it's always been an absolutely insanely strong weapon. It's just like the de facto like DMR like marksman weapon in the game, other than the snipers.
Yeah, this thing demolishes neurothropes, zoanthropes, and it feels really good to use too. That's a crazy thing. It's hard to actually get a weapon like a DMR to feel properly. Like, you have to give it fat damage. Like, that's the biggest thing. But like, especially in a horde shooter where there are just so many enemies going around, making a DMR feel amazing. I mean, this gun just, it is that gun. Stalker Bolt Rifle is probably my favorite of all like the single firing bolt weapons in the game. I like Marksman Carbine, the Stalker, I guess there aren't that many, but like, you know, Bolt Sniper, Stalker Bolt Rifle. Where's the, is that it? I think that's actually it. Besides like the Marksman Carbine up here. Point is, a Stalker Bolt Rifle is pretty damn fun. I would say it's above Bolt Carbine, but below Plasma. Is that fair? Did you say that? Maybe a little higher than Plasma? I think it's definitely above Bolt Carbine.
I would probably put it below Plasma, purely just because it is a little bit harder to use against Chaos.
That is true. They have weird hitboxes for their heads. Especially on the Terminators. That's
oh yeah, because they're like little like guards block their face.
That is true. Bolt Sniper Rifle is the next weapon we have here. Let's see. This thing got buffed in patch 9.0, has increased headshot multiplier just as the Stalker Bolt Rifle got, and it also has a variant with increased rate of fire. Now, I love this gun. I put this in A on the last tier list I did that you were not here for, Zambitt. I was kind of being nice to it. I don't think it is as good as the Last Fusel is. I think Last Fusel definitely outperforms the Bolt Sniper in like every way. I think the Bolt Sniper is like a little too headshot dependent, and that like the body shots basically do nothing. Like, every single shot that does not hit somebody directly in the head, unlike the Last Fusel that has like this fat arc that can like blast apart my Norris as well. It's like a total wasted shot, though it does fire instantaneously, and it is pretty easy to hit headshots in this game. So I'd say Bolt Sniper, it's not like the buff was good. The buff was definitely good. I'd say it's like a high B right now. I don't think I'd put it in A. I mean, I guess you could argue it should be an A for putting the Marksman Carbine up there, but even then I think the Marksman Carbine is probably better. Maybe if the Bolt Sniper was like on tactical, but I don't know how good it would be on tac. What do you think about the Bolt Sniper currently?
It's definitely a lot better after the changes they got. It's yeah, I don't know if it breaks A tier. It's just a very weird weapon to use. I kind of personally think it's a little clunky.
Yeah, it's very it'll be like, I like the instantaneous fire versus the Last Fusel, but it's way less forgiving than the Last Fusel is, and the Last Fusel also just does more damage. It's kind of fucking funny, but it also has better horde clear. So I would say this thing goes into high B. I think it's definitely better than the Melter Rifle is right now, or at least on power. So I would say this thing is B. It's a good weapon. It's not bad by any means. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's mediocre. It's a good weapon. It's a solid pick. It's just not like the top performer. Now, next weapon, heavy bolt rifle. This thing, I think this thing underperforms. I don't think it's like in the good tier of B, which is really so. For anyone curious what we're ranking these on, S tier is like absolute overperformers. A tier is like top tier performers. B tier is like a good weapon. C tier is like an underperformer, and D tier is just like power crept or trash. So heavy bolt rifle. I believe heavy bolt rifle is a underperforming weapon currently. I think it is like the second worst option for automatic bolt weapons in the game. I think like the headshot damage is just too low on this. I mean, it has great accuracy, great at like just dumping out shots, very ammo efficient. But the only class I would ever take this on is tactical. There's no reason to touch this gun on heavy. This is like heavy's worst gun by far. And I wouldn't even like put it in like a compilation for like heavy builds, to be honest. So I would say this thing goes like firmly into C. I just don't think it's a very good gun currently. It's very underperforming. Like, it's not terrible, but I would not call it good. I'd say it's very mediocre. Compared to the other automatic options. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely just kind of it's always been just like an okay gun. It's always just been solid. It's just kind of what the auto bolt rifle wants to be. But it's still just it's still just an okay weapon, and I don't think it got any changes in patch 9, right?
I think they did. They said there was like some change to the base damage on one version, but I'm pretty sure it was a typo with the heavy bolter, because I tried it, I didn't feel any difference. So I would still say this is in like C tier. I don't think it's as bad as the auto bolt rifle by any means, but it's just C. A little underperforming compared to the other options. Now, next weapon is the heavy bolter. This thing is by far the best automatic bolt weapon in the game. It slaps. I think this thing is better than bolt carbine and bolt rifle. I think, like, it's attached to heavy, so anything attached to heavy automatically just takes like a fat W, because Straben is that guy, and this is just the bolter of bolters. He is the king bolter, and he is the king gunman. So I would say this one is incredibly powerful, incredible headshot damage. It has multiple good variants. You don't have to, like, the accuracy one is stupidly accurate and has great ammo economy. The maximum ammo, or the ammo reserve option one, has like the dumbest amount of ammo in this game. And also it has great synergy with like the fortitude of the heavy class, because he can get very low HP, just constantly proc things like adamant restoration, or be totally fine with conviction and fortitude while like sitting at the adamant hunter perk for like extra headshot damage. So very strong synergy with him. What do you think about the heavy bolter, Zambitt?
I definitely agree that it's probably the strongest like automatic bolt weapon in the game at the moment.
Is there any what kind of buffs you'd like to see to it? I'm curious.
I don't know if it needs buffs, because it's a weapon that's like very strong right now, and I think if it got buffed, it would become maybe a little too strong.
Yeah, any
I think
buff
it's just
you give to
a very
this
balanced weapon.
would be pretty hard. I think like the anything that, like, the only reason the heavy bolter is below an S tier pick, like what I would say is like heavy plasma or multi-melta, is because these ones just scale up in AoE way more than the bolter does, because its AoE comes from penetration, and anything that would make that penetration absurd would probably just like break the balance of the gun, period. So I would probably say this one is, I think it's top A. Next weapon here is the last Fusel. Now, this gun is the best sniper in the game by far of like the two options. It has a great horde clear, great damage to bosses, great damage to Majoris and Extremis. I love this gun. I'd say it's an easy A. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, yeah, Last Fusel has always been, I think since the launch of the game, just insanely strong weapon. And it's only gotten buffed, I'm pretty sure, since the launch of the game.
Yeah, I was playing with some viewers on this thing, and it was like walking through an absolute just like as a breeze. They're just like headshotting everything. So it's just an absolute cruise weapon.
Yeah, if you land headshots to this thing, it just destroys everything, and it has really good ammo economy.
Yeah, the ammo economy is stupid. So we say this is top I would say this is top A. What do you think?
Yeah,
this is over heavy bolter right now.
I would agree.
All right, next gun is heavy plasma incinerator. Now, the heavy plasma, I think, is the single best weapon in this game currently overall. I think it handles everything the game could possibly throw at it. It has an ammo reserve variant that is just makes it stupidly ammo efficient on top of auxiliary reload. The light shots are super strong on this thing. The heavy shots can one-shot Majoris on both the Tyranids and Chaos. And in siege mode, it's like the single best standard gun for boss damage outside like the grenade launcher. But overall, I would say it's actually better than the grenade launcher. So heavy plasma, thoughts, Zambitt?
Yeah, I don't disagree. This weapon is absolutely disgusting. It's the reason heavy can clear so far into true solo siege mode, and just in general, just kind of the best class for siege mode at the moment.
Heavy plasma is just that
And
good.
it did get buffed this patch too.
Yeah, it's funny.
Which
It
is
got
kinda crazy.
buffed on the venting speed and the rate of fire variant, and I still just prefer the ammo one because ammo is just so fucking important on the heavy. But I haven't tried it in siege mode yet on the rate of fire buff, so maybe it is actually superior. Or the venting. Venting.
The rate of fire is very noticeable. You shoot the thing so much faster now.
Move like that one proc. Yeah, I'll take that in at some point. I'd say it goes top of S easy. I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
All right. Next gun, Oculus Bolt Carbine. This gun did receive a buff this patch, ×2 headshot multiplier on the accuracy variant. I think the other options are pretty shite because headshot multiplier is just too important in this game. I have kind of always been a fan of the Oculus Bolt Carbine, but the moment they put the standard Bolt Carbine on Vanguard, I feel like this thing just got power crept super hard. It does have better range damage because you have like a scope and it's like very accurate with the scope and like on the non-accuracy variants, but I would still say it's below Bolt Carbine. So I'm curious what you think about this.
Yeah, it's definitely still just like a good weapon, but at the same time, I think it's kind of mid.
B. I think this one goes for a mid.
Yeah.
I put it over the Melta Rifle. Actually, I put it below Melta Rifle. The Melta Rifle has like that armor restore. This one has recoupment, like all the bolt weapons do. But I feel like Melta Rifle just does more currently, even with the headshot multiplier. Because like Vanguard, I feel like Vanguard doesn't benefit from an Oculus as much as like a class like Tactical probably would. But I don't believe they actually have those in lore, so it's just how it is. Now, next weapon, Instigator. Instigator Bolt Carbine. I think this thing is okay. I don't think it's great. It has a headshot multiplier buff this patch. I think that's an okay variant. It doesn't even have like a ×2 like the other ones do. It has a pretty good synergy with the Pattern of Excellence to get back your equipment charges pretty quickly. But besides that, I would say it is quite mid. I tried to take this into Chaos on Vanguard, and I was like, why would I ever take this over like the automatic variants of the guns? And I think this thing just like underperforms on Vanguard, especially compared to like the other options on Sniper. What do you think about the Instigator Bolt Carbine?
Yeah, I think it's definitely another like very just middle of the road weapon. It does have what is the perk? It's the one where 50% of your magazine or like your hits get refunded to your magazine or reserves, which is a really good perk. But other than that, it's just okay.
I would say it's under Oculus. I think the Oculus is actually better than this thing right now. So I'd probably put it here. Or what do you think? B?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good spot for it.
Yeah, I think B. I think Oculus is fair.
Now, the final primary weapon we have here is the Multi-Melta. Now, Multi-Melta fucks in this game. The only time this thing ever falls off is in like the highest waves of siege, where there's so many enraged enemies that the stagger does nothing and its damage just like is pretty pathetic. This thing really crutches on stagger, but like for 99% of content in Space Marine 2, Multi-Melta just absolutely cleans house, and there's nothing. It takes like 0 user input too. You just shoot gun. So I'd say this thing is easy S currently. Any thoughts on the Multi-Melta?
Yeah, I 100% agree.
This is like what the
It
Melta
is-
Rifle dreams of being.
Yes.
I would put it. I don't even go as far as to say I put it over the grenade launcher. I think it does perform better in most cases. But actually, maybe grenade launcher scales higher. What do you think?
I think in siege mode grenade launcher is better, but overall Malta is probably better because I think it's better in operations.
That is true. I'd say, well, I would put it below the grenade launcher just because siege mode is the hardest content in the game. So if you're a gun that like performs stupidly well at the hardest content, I think it's hard because like they're both very, very good. I agree with you. I'll just put it here. Put both the grenade launcher because it is better for more content. But grenade launcher is definitely better for siege. That is all for the primary weapons. So we have Heavy Plasma in S, Multi-Melta in S, Grenade Launcher in S, and then in A we have Last Fuseless of S A tier, then Heavy Bolter, then Plasma Incinerator, Stalker Bolt Rifle, Bolt Carbine, Bolt Rifle, and Marksman Carbine. Then for B is a Bolt Sniper Rifle, Melta Rifle, Oculus, and Instigator, and then C for the underperformers we have a Heavy Bolt Rifle, and D we have the Auto Bolt Rifle. I think that's pretty accurate currently. Any thoughts on this? Anything you'd move up or down?
Uh, no, I think everything's. The only thing I would maybe do is make an entirely own tier for the auto bolt rifle.
An F tier. We could do that, but I feel like most of the problems with these guns come down to like variant issues now, rather than like the guns themselves having zero good variants. Period. And I believe that besides that, like they're all in a pretty good spot. So that's all for the primaries. Now we are on to the secondaries. So first up, we have the Neo Volkite pistol. This thing's CHP regen sucks. The damage is pretty good on bosses. You can actually build up the heat with your friends quite easily. So if like everyone teams up and takes all Neo Volkite, do some funny, goofy things. The gun strike damage is by no means terrible. It's really good for clearing out spore mines and cultists. I actually like it a lot for that. And on a class like Vanguard, where your secondary doesn't matter too much for like CHP regen, I think Neo Volkite is quite good for like some extra boss damage and just clearing out things that are kind of annoying, like the spore mines and cultists I mentioned previously. What do you think of the Neo Volkite pistol, Zambitt?
Yeah, it's definitely just like okay. It can be very good in like the chain reaction path or whatever, but that's like super hard to proc is actually getting those chain reactions. And then yeah, CHP is just pretty bad on it.
I thought they buffed it, but I don't feel it at all. I think it's still
Yeah,
terrible.
it feels still really bad. Yeah.
I feel like I'd still put this thing in B because I don't think it underperforms. I think it does pretty much everything you'd expect the Neo Volkite to do. I would still take it over things like an Inferno pistol and a standard bolt pistol. So I'd say B, low B is a pretty good spot for it.
Yeah, I think it's the most middle of the road of the sidearms right now.
I definitely agree with that. And next we have a controversial weapon, the Inferno pistol. This thing, the Saber Interactive is dedicated to making sure it does not have any like range damage, or the gun strike damage is kind of mediocre compared to like the heavy bolt pistol and even like the standard bolt pistol. They did buff its gun strike damage. Again, it has a limited gun strike range. It does have a really good fire rate on the rate of fire variant, and it also has a pretty good amount of CHP regen and can regen you armor versus Minora's things like trick shot. Though I'd still say this thing goes into like, I still think it's worse than Neo Volkite right now. I just don't think like any gun in this game that has like really bad gun strike damage, let alone a limited gun strike range, I think has to be like a little bit underperforming in some ways. I know I put this in B previously, but I've kind of come around in it a little bit. It's like I've tried it on some other classes. I don't think it's that good. What's your opinion on this thing?
I absolutely hate this thing, but looking at it objectively, it is probably like bottom of B, below Volkite. It does have some nice perks for like the armor generation perks.
Trick shot is good. It's also on a separate cooldown from like a melter rifle. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and any armor gen is just good in the game at the moment. So yeah, I'd probably put it like below Volkite.
I would say for ranking the ammo variant, that one goes to C. It's terrible compared to rate of fire. This one also has like ammo restoration on it, which is really, really good. It's like you don't really have ammo problems on this. And I will say the bottom tree is just like flat out better than the top tree, because like getting that one shot for damage is so bad compared to having a trick shot for armor restore. So let's say this one.
The reload speed is too bad for it.
It's true. All right, next weapon, we have Heavy Bolt Pistol. I mean, this is just the headshot king of sidearms. This is one of the best secondaries in the whole game. It used to be an exclusively assault weapon. Then they all broke into his house and robbed him and took it and gave it to everybody else, and gave him a plasma pistol as like compensation with a power sword. Now, I'd say this thing is easy S. I think it's the best secondary in the game as far as like, operation. Well, no, I'd say plasma pistol's not definitely better, but this is one of the best secondaries in the game. Best gun strike damage, period, unless you count things like AoE gun strikes on the plasma. And overall, this gun is very good. CHP is definitely worse than the plasma is, but really what isn't? And I'd say this is definitely the up-and-comer, or the second, what do they call it? The runner-up to the plasma. So I'd say this is S. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's pretty neck and neck with plasma. It's basically just a pocket stalker bullet rifle. That's a bit worse. But yeah, I mean, it's always been one of the strongest weapons in the game. It's basically a primary in your pocket, is the thing with the plasma pistol. But
That's a good point.
yeah, I think it's S. I do think it's a little bit worse than plasma. So
I am 100% in agreement with you here. I would say it's an S and worse than plasma, though it is kind of a secondary little like pocket melter for neurothropes and zoanthropes when you have like auxiliary reload plus practice aim on the assault class, which is pretty good. And if you are playing like, I don't know, a plasma heavy, I would probably take the heavy bolt pistol over a plasma pistol just because you want the headshot multiplier when you're by yourself sometimes. But besides that, I do think plasma's just better. And on the note of plasma, we're right there. Now, this gun got buffed on the rate of fire variant. I think the rate of fire variant for plasma pistol might be a little overtuned right now. It is stupidly good at CHP recovery, stagger, damage. If you're playing tactical with the plasma boost perk, the damage output of your plasma pistol gets kind of absurd for a secondary weapon, especially if you have like versatility on top of that. This gun is just S tier, and the AoE gun strikes are just like, even like the gun strike damage is pretty good, and the AoE gun strikes make it like the overall best for siege mode as well. I love this thing. I've always kind of liked the plasma pistol, but especially recently with these buffs, it is just kind of nuts. So what do you think?
yeah, the buffs to the charge rate variant made it just absolutely insane. You can just pump out so much damage, get all your CHP back. It just kind of does everything well, other than maybe ammo economy, but you can subvert that by speccing into the ammo perks.
Yeah, ammo economy really is the only thing holding this back. I definitely agree with that. This one's just S, top S. I think this thing actually outperforms the other ones. Like, heavy bolt pistol is the only one that even comes close. Like, plasma pistol is just kind of nuts right now. That rate of fire buff is kind of fucking cracked, to be honest. But hey, you know, it's just the way the game is currently. Next weapon is bolt pistol. Now, a bolt pistol is a controversial weapon sometimes. This gun has some cool perks. I don't think it's horrific. The only reason I put it in D previously is because power crept by the heavy bolt pistol. Like, I don't really see a universe where you're taking this over the HBP, because this one has way better CHP regen. The ammo economy is better on the bolt pistol, but like if you go like for like damage to damage, I'm pretty sure. The perks on the heavy bolt pistol are still good, and the gun strike damage is just flat out better. So I feel like this gun just does everything the bolt pistol wants to do better, but also this one gives you more carpal tunnel. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, it's true on the carpal tunnel, but it is probably the worst sidearm in the game at the moment. It just kind of doesn't really do anything better than like heavy bolt pistol, especially. I think its rate of fire should probably get amped or something. But yeah, it has like good perks. It's just the base weapon itself is just not that great.
Maybe one day they'll add in a storm bolter. It'll be more powercraft. But yeah, the bolt pistol. I mean, I want to like it because like bolt pistols are like, yeah, you play in Dark Tide, the bolt pistol's super fun. It feels like super heavy hitting. I hope one day, you know, it's like a side note, I hope one day somebody makes a mod to like have better sound effects for the bolt weapons of this game, because they're pretty pathetic compared to what they should be. But I'd say as far as balance goes for the actual tier list, this thing just goes into D or C. I can't think of putting it anywhere higher than that, because there's just no reason to take this over like a heavy bolt pistol. It's just underperforming currently. I mean, I'll put it in C and be nice, because like it's not a terrible gun, it's just underperforming where it should be. That's my take. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with C, because I just think it needs a little bit of a nudge, and then it could be a very powerful and unique weapon.
And then we're going to move on from the secondaries here, which we put the plasma, heavy bolt pistol, neovolkite in, plasma and heavy bolt pistol in S, neovolkite and inferno in B, and in C we have the bolt pistol, our sad little bolt pistol. Now we move on to the melee weapons. Chainsword is up first. I think this is probably the best melee weapon overall outside the power fist currently, just because of the combo skip on top of the stupid amount of damage you can dump out of this thing on tactical with battle focus, and like one combo Majora's, one combo the extremists at times, or like nearly one combo them. Very, very strong synergy there. You let the one speed on block, and it's just a strong weapon still. And honestly, this thing has stupidly fast attack chains on the balance and fencing version, and swift recovery is like the best CHP perk for any melee weapon, period. So what do you think about the Chainsword?
Yeah, it's definitely just like, other than Power Fist, probably the best melee in the game. It's just always been the most consistent. and then it has the best CHP recovery, so it just kind of automatically makes it top tier.
It was kind of going nuts
And
with
then
the Vanguard.
Yeah, and then the combo skip makes it just even better.
I'm curious, you know, they talked about the CHP regen, the rework there, and they were talking about the Vanguard being like, or in my opinion, I thought the Vanguard would be like a little too OP if they gave him like a stupid amount of CHP regen buff, because like him with the chain sword already is like really, really good for like swift recovery. I'm curious if they actually intend to make every melee weapon like that, because, you know, for CHP recovery on melee weapons to be top tier, I feel like the chain sword is already like a good example of that on the Vanguard, and Vanguard can still not sit there and like tank and devour words and rage and stuff like that. So like, you know, if you get chunked, like how much better could it really get than this? I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because that's just a little side note I want to talk about for the chain sword for recovery. Because if they're going to buff the CHP regen of these melee weapons, it'd be pretty hard to get better than the Vanguard CHP recovery with chain sword currently.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think block weapons are gonna struggle the most still, because of their speed. But like at least in recovering CHP.
Mm-hmm.
But the other weapons I think could get a little ridiculous on that. I'm not sure. It's just I guess we'll have to wait and see moment.
That's true. If they actually, looks like the vote's going to be shifting towards the melee weapons, though, is why I'm kind of curious. But either way, for the tier list here, I put this in A. I think that's pretty standard. I don't think it's S, because we have another weapon S that we'll get to shortly. But chain sword is definitely A. Next weapon, power sword. I fucking love this thing. I think this thing is pretty damn close to the chain sword. I think the only place the chain sword is like straight up better here is in the contested hit HP recovery. And cutting edge, or power rake, I should say, for the cutting edge perk, with the cutting edge perk on top of it, is very, very strong option to deal a ton of damage at range. This thing can like chop zone throw out of the sky at times. Power whirl is really strong. Block power sword plus power whirl feels really good because you stagger everything. Maybe one day they'll actually fix like the block AoE explosion and make it feel even better, but I digress. Point is, I think power sword is like nipping at the heels of the chain sword, and I put an A2. What is your opinion on this weapon?
It's definitely probably the most fun melee weapon in the game. And I think it is pretty strong, especially on like the fencing and balanced variants. Its block variant is okay, I would say.
Yeah, I've used it a bit. I do kind of prefer it now, just for like the power break damage, but I do like the balance and fencing versions. And also the power sword is just on classes that really benefit from gun strikes, like the Assault and Bulwark, who have intimidating aura and armor reinforcement. So I think power sword is definitely like good on all its variants currently, but balance and fencing really do benefit from just like the extra perks that the classes are on top of the fact that this weapon just has a really cool combat string or combo strings that only function if it's quick. So either way, I'd say it's good. I put it below the chain sword barely. I think we both agree on that. So A tier, right below chain sword. Any thoughts?
Not really. It's pretty much just a different chain sword.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Next weapon we have is the Power Fist. This is the best melee weapon in the game. Stupidly good boss damage, stupidly good at just executing Majoris in one-shot power. You can just long range shoot a zone throw out of the sky, long range snipe a neuro throw out of the sky. It is actually absurd how much ammo this saves you on the assault class when you're playing with it, because it's basically your gun. Now, there's so many things you'd have to shoot normally that you don't have to, because this one just gets you an execute or punches it out of the sky. So I say this one's just an S tier. What do you think of the Power Fist?
Yeah, I don't think there's any argument on it being S tier. It's just the best melee weapon. It's been the best melee weapon since it got reworked in like patch 6, I think.
Yep, it's the fist. The power of the Power Fist. It's funny, I'm pretty sure in lore they aren't operating as like a, you know, an air punch weapon, but that's just how it is in this game. But that's really the only way they could make it good in this game without like one-shotting things, I guess. But I don't know. The ground slam, I feel like could use a rework or like a significant buff if they want to make it better than like the thrust jab. But until then, Power Fist, still S tier, maybe a little bit limited in perk selection, but also this thing has like stupid damage reduction in its perk tree, which is kind of insane, because like you can get like what, 30% health damage reduction while using your Power Fist with like some prerequisites, which is insane for a weapon perk. But either way, Power Fist is top tier. And then we move into what is definitely not top tier, Thunderhammer. What do you think about the Thunderhammer? Because I think this thing is like firmly in B. I don't think it's top tier by any means, but it is good. I don't think it's a bad weapon. I think it just like suffers from the fact that Space Marine 2 has so much stuff that like forcibly interrupts you, like Minotaurs grabbing you, or like forcing you to grab them out of the sky, forcing you to move and like stop your aftershock. And unlike the thrust jab of the power fist, you can't just like throw out your aftershock and just like one shot the guy all the time. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the worst melee weapon. I think it's still good, but it's definitely the worst of all of them in my opinion. Because yeah, like you really just can't get a lot of its attacks out. You're just gonna get staggered out of them, and I think that they need to take notes from like Dark Souls with their Colossus weapons and having like poise almost, where you can tank a certain amount of attacks before you get staggered.
Yeah, proper
So
like
make it good.
proper hyper armor would be good.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of have that with no knockback in this game, but it's not quite the same. You know, if it had like the invulnerability perk to it, or like the invulnerability effect of the no knockback where you phase through attacks, and that'd probably make this thing feel way, way better. But like there's nothing more obnoxious than Space Marine 2 than like a Zangor or a Minotaurus guy. Like the little blue icon pops up for a parry while you are charging an aftershock, and you're like, you just have to. You have to move. Or parry. Those are your options, period. So definitely B tier for good, just not quite at the level of A yet. Hopefully in the future, if they like ever buff this thing's stagger resist or like staggering. Now the final weapon, the combat knife. I like the combat knife. I think I primarily like it on the sniper class. It is his only option, but like it really just has a good synergy because Shadow Stab is the best ability on this thing, and it works best on the sniper class because, you know, he can go invisible. And I do think this is actually pretty good for Horde clear. The Skull Crushers are quite decent at setting up gun strikes and just whacking around the Minotaurus dudes. I don't know if I like it too much on the Vanguard or Tactical, but like, it's not terrible there either. What do you think about it?
It's definitely the best on sniper. I really love knife. I think it has the most fun moveset in the game, other than maybe Power Sword. But yeah, on the other classes, it doesn't have as much synergy as it does with sniper.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat there. I would say I'd probably put it below Chainsword and Power Sword. It has great synergy with sniper, but like having synergy on one class it's on compared to the other, like the other two, because it's on 3 classes in this game now. I'd say it just goes into A, low A. It's pretty good for bossing though. All right, so that is the tier list for Space Marine 2 Patch 9.0 Part 2. This time with Zambitt. Thank you for joining me, Zambitt. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on like the final tier list here. Anything you move up or down in your selections? I think it's pretty accurate, to be honest, for this patch.
Yeah, I don't think I'd really move anything other than Inferno Pistol because I hate that weapon. But
wait, where would you put it? D.
I'd put it D just because I hate that thing. But objectively, it is probably.
They did fucking nerf it at one point, which is kind of insane. But yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, Inferno, I can definitely see the hate for the Inferno pistol. We'll put it there for the memes. Okay, that is all there is to the list, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you like content like this, subscribe to this channel for more, and also subscribe to Zambitt, who was kind enough to come on for this tier list and other tier lists I'll be posting later. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. And you can find Zambitt's description link in the description. Wait. You can find Zambitt's channel link in the description below. I'm not cutting that out. And that's pretty much all there is to this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.